Hi teachers, Seven Bates, your friendly neighborhood web developer here. We're going to go ahead and walk through and give you a how-to on how to use the WordPress website for posting all of your content for your students and for everybody else to see. I know it's a new product. I know that it's something that a lot of you aren't necessarily familiar with, so we're going to go ahead and do a quick introduction to what WordPress is, and then kind of give you a walkthrough of how to use the interface and publish content, and then how to do things like upload documents and photos. By the time we're done with this video, you should be able to use it to communicate with all of your class and anybody who you think regularly needs to be looking at your web page. So let's go ahead and start by introducing you to the actual website interface itself. This is the WordPress site, as you've probably seen it already. All of our schools are actually now using this new WordPress format. WordPress is basically a platform. If you were to give it like a format, it's a way to publish websites, and what we refer to as a content management system. So we realize that as a teacher, you don't necessarily have all the time in the world to learn how to code a website and how to, upload all this different types of content, but we know that you want to be able to communicate with your students and have a place for putting that content online. So since we know you can't necessarily build a whole web page on your own, a product like WordPress is really the way we get around giving you easy to use tools. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in the login. We're going to use the good folks at Arvin are going to let us use our website today as a testing platform. So we're going to go ahead and log in with a teacher account that we've created. You'd be getting your logins from your web developer. When you land on the front end of the website's interface, this is the dashboard. Now on the dashboard, you should have this Welcome to Arvin's dashboard, and it shows you your official colors. Your school name would be here, and your school colors would load here. And then there's usually a couple of quick walkthrough questions and answers. These are designed for your administrators, but there will be more tutorial information here. Over on the right are where the tutorial videos will be located. This is probably where you located yours. At the moment, we mostly have administrative tutorials, but this introductory will be right here. Over on the left-hand side, you'll see the options for you to be able to load a post, how to add media, and how to edit your profile. You don't really ever have to edit your profile. It's kind of an unnecessary thing. If you feel like putting in more information, feel free, but it's not really necessary. Let's go ahead and dive right into posts. So with posts, you have two options. You want to look at all the posts, or you want to add a new one. Let's go ahead and just add a new post. When we've added a new post, it takes us to the interface. Now this interface was designed to be very familiar. We wanted everybody who works in the high school district to be able to recognize how to use this product without learning a really complicated new piece of software. The way we did that was by making sure that our interface looked a lot like Microsoft Word or really any email interface. So the first thing that I'd recommend you do upon your first login to the actual interface for adding a new post is to come up here on the menu bar where all your tools are and click all the way up here to the right. You'll see one that says show and hide the kitchen sink. If you click that one, a whole extra row of buttons appears. By default, this is unclicked, so you want to click that so that it gives you your second row of buttons. So now that you've got your second row of buttons, let's go ahead and talk about the individual features that you've got here. The first one is your title area. Whatever you title in here will basically be displaying as the title page of your individual post. So let's go ahead and go to Arvin's website and break down how this would display. So I'm going to go ahead and look myself up because I've got a page on the Arvin High website. I made one today. So this is just like you have one of these. You have a teacher page. The teacher page has your name, it has your title, it has a subtitle underneath it, it has an area for a syllabus that you can give your web developer so that you can have it available for all of your students. It has a place where you can either put a biography or a breakdown of your schedule for the day, your email address, and your room number. So as you can see by default, there's really no content underneath here. We want to have the header information, but we want to be able to load your content below. So let's go ahead and start process of doing that. Let's go ahead and give it a title. We're going to call this the first post. And then we're going to, just come down here into the body. And just like you would normally would, you can just start typing away. Content here. just anything that you would normally do in Word, you can do in the WordPress interface. Now that I've typed a couple of words, let's go over the individual buttons and you can see what these buttons do for content like that. The first one that you'll notice is the paragraph. This is actually referred to as the styles drop down. When you click it, it shows you the different formats that you have for your content. Now, this might seem a little complicated because this might be a little bit different than what you're used to in Word, but the idea is that you have some pre-formatted styles that help save you time. So if you were typing something in here, let's say you had a subtitle, and then you had content, and we're just going to make some content here. And then we're going to go ahead and copy all that, and we're going to make another section of subtitles and contents. So let's say you wanted that subtitle to be nice and big. Well, you could bold it. And you could, definitely change the font size. That option's right below. You can make it huge if you wanted. But one of the options that you have available is to give it a heading size, like say heading 3. When you've chosen heading 3, all of your subtitles and certain, any text that you highlight and give that 2 will display as heading 3. And when you do that, it gives you a little bit larger and usually a bolded style. It's just a great way to save yourself time. You can write all the content you want and then go back and make all the changes to it style-wise that you want. Really good, nice way to do that. You can, of course, go all the way down to heading 6. The ones that just automatically set to as paragraph by default, you can just leave it there if you want. The next option you have available is, of course, to bold text. You can italic. You can do a strike through. This is a really great way when you want to kind of make a little joke like little red riding monster. Well, we don't really want it to be monster, so we just click that and choose strike through. Catch it? Very simple. Very simple little tool. The next feature is, of course, underline like you're used to, and then there's the font color. If you wanted to change the color of your text, just highlight it, drop it down, choose any of the pre-formatted colors. You can also choose the More Colors option and come through here and pick any one of the ones you've got. There's a couple of different color palettes, and there are different numbers and names. You can also put in a hex code value, and this is something that you may have noticed from the dashboard. Those special custom colors that exist on the dashboard actually display as hex values. Let's go ahead and go there, and I'll show it to you. Arvin's red is a very specific red. It's BC0000. This hexadecimal value, when you paste it in there, applies it as the actual red of Arvin High School. Every one of your schools should have that, so you could be able to use your school colors for any purposes you need. Another thing you've got here is the highlight tool. This allows you, if you actually, just like a regular highlighter, if you just wanted to draw particular attention to a certain thing, just click it and highlight it. The next button is subscripting and superscripting for making extra notes. You've got your standard unordered list and numbered lists, just like you do with regular bullet points. You've also got a feature called block quoting. This is really nice, actually. If there's a particular section of the content that you wanted to isolate and make look like in a magazine, how they isolate certain text and quote it out, just click the block quote. Now, on your interface, it just seems as if it indents it a little bit and just makes it look a certain way. But I'm going to go ahead and click the preview button, and this will allow us to open up a new tab and see what we're looking at, and it'll show us what it looks like on the actual website. As you can see, here's my subtitle in that nice heading 3 style. Here's the red text I created. There's the highlight. And then here's the block quote. And the block quote adds a little vertical line here. It kind of just makes it look nice. You can italicize that text. You could change its color as well. And then just hit preview again. And it'll update this page and show you what it would look like. This is a great way to go back and forth and look at things as you're working on them to see if you like the way it finalizes. So now that we're working in, with the different types of text with block quoting, let's go ahead and move over into the alignment tools. Just like you're used to using in Microsoft Word or in email and Outlook, you can align to the center, align to the right, or justify content. If there's a link to a website you particularly want people to go to, like let's say you went to CNN and you found a news story that was pertinent to a specific piece of content that you had. Here's a meteor explosion over Arizona. Great story. So we'll just come up here and copy this text right there in that URL. This is the address for that website. We'll just go ahead and copy that, come back over, and let's just say that this content was leading to that. So we'll highlight that piece of text and click. Instantly as I highlight it, you'll see the link buttons become active. I can just click the insert link button and ask me for the URL. I just paste that in there and I hit insert. Bam! Instantly there's a link. If I choose to preview that, you'll see that this text will now turn into a link. And so it did. Arvin's site changes all links to the red color. You can, of course, if you wanted to, come over here and make that link blue. Each one of those color choices is kind of based on each individual school's site color. So, this might be a little bit more conducive to what you're doing. You may not necessarily make your quote text red, so your links will stick out, but that's another feature you can do. The next features, of course, is a spell checker. The spell checker works pretty good. I would recommend that if you're writing text and you really want to spell check it, that maybe you write it in Word first and run Word spell checker and then copy and paste that content in here. The reason is because Microsoft has put a lot of work and time into making a very good spell checker, and I'd recommend you use that. The next button is the remove formatting button. This is a great way if you've got a lot of text and you've built it and you just want to take everything back to very simple original formatting. Just click that button and it removes things like italics, colors, things like that. The links still stay, your header style still stays, but it removes all that formatting. The next button is a slideshow, and then the button. I'm going to show you those last. Those are kind of complicated, but they got a bunch of great tools in them. We're going to show you that next. After that, you've got, of course, your font size choice. You can choose any of these font sizes. You can just click them and use them like you normally would. There's an insert embedded media button here. This is where if you were copying a URL from, say, YouTube, you would just drop that right in there and hit insert, and it does a great job of making YouTube videos. Each school has their own policies about teachers utilizing educational content from YouTube. Check with your administrator on, what content you can post and, what's approved. For the most part, they're trusting you as an educator to show appropriate content, but please check and make sure you know what your policies are. The next feature, of course, is the Edit CSS Style. This is kind of a complicated tool. This is for more advanced users. If you want to know how to use this, we'll probably make an entire tutorial on it, but it does give you the ability to format certain areas where text would display differently. The next feature is to paste as plain text or paste from Word or clean up messy code. This is a feature that I expect you'll probably regularly use. And the way that you would use it is you would go into a program like Microsoft Word. And when Microsoft Word is used to make your content, just like you're used to making, you can just, type your content here. Of course, my computer decided to move like molasses in January. I have no idea why. It's always this way. When the web developer decides he wants to show off something, the computer looks really, really slow. But now I've chosen to copy that content, and then I just come down here. I could just paste that right here into the web editor, but I don't really want to do that. So, because the reason I don't want to is because Microsoft Office uses some technology that when you just copy and paste from it directly, weird things happen. The software is called macros. Just suffice it to say, to make it very simple, you want to use this button when you're copying from Word. So you paste from Word, and it tells you use Control-V, and that pastes the content there, and then we choose Insert. And there, see, it looks just like all the other stuff. Or if I copied it from here, it'd probably copy the font, and it'd look a certain way, and that's not necessarily what you're looking for. So make sure you get used to using that button. It's a pretty nice way of putting things in there. Cleaning up messy code is another button that you can use. It eliminates extraneous. If you've been working with something and you can't get, say this section's got a link on it and you want that link to go away, but you can't get it to go away. You've tried, it won't. Sometimes hitting this button fixes the problem for you. Not all the time. Check with your web developer locally. He can help you with that. Next button is to insert a non-breaking space character. Probably not a feature you're going to use. It's for more advanced users, but it helps you to create little line indents. The next button is a really useful one. It's the Insert Custom Character button. Now, this is really great for math teachers who want to put in, Greek code or, any particular formulas. This is a great way to get information across. You can, of course, make any of these characters any font size you want. So it's a great way to get that in there. You can also just take an entire section of text and indent it. And you can continue hitting the indent button and it'll just keep on going. The next button is how to use a table. And inserting tables is kind of a whole thing. I'm going to do a quick introduction to it, but we're probably going to make a second tutorial video just about tables. What you'll find is that tables are a really useful way of formatting content in a way that helps your students see a lot of stuff at once. So now that I'm going to use a table, I'm going to go ahead and widen the space that I'm working here. And this is my area, but down here in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see when I move my mouse down here that the entire work area drops and turns into a little double arrow. That means I can click it and drag down, and as you can see, that opens up my work area. It gives me a little bit more room to work. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the Insert a New Table button. Instantly, it brings me up with a window and it asks me for some information. Now, this isn't intuitive, so we're going to kind of walk through this and just bear with me. Let's say we're going to make a box, and this table is going to have 4 columns and 4 rows. I'm going to put in a cell padding of 5 pixels and a cell spacing of 5 pixels. The reason for that is kind of complicated. Essentially, it just keeps things from being butted up next to each other, and that's a really good rule of thumb is 5 pixels. You can change it around and play with it more later, and in an advanced tutorial, we'll explain how you can use that a little bit better for other things, but 5 is good for now. I'd leave the alignment alone. Don't even bother with it. Definitely don't add a border unless you wanted to. I don't bother with them. The really important one is width. When you're working with tables, and you're working with WordPress, you're wanting to tell a table that you want it to be as wide as your work area or a specific width based on a percentage. I'm going to go ahead and say 90% of my work area is going to be the table. And you'll see what that means in a moment. I just leave the height alone and then I just hit insert. What that's done for me is it has inserted a table, and these little lines are really invisible, but they're kind of outlined for you in the editor so that you can see where you're working. Inside these tables, you can put in content, and you can move, just like in Excel, from cell to cell. This content, as you saw, it kind of widened and narrowed as I put content in. That's because the cells are empty and it doesn't really, have any particular width until you put the content in there. You can add as much content in here as you want. It can be pictures. It can be text. Any of the text that's in here can be formatted just like any other text. So you could obviously come in here and change the color very easily. You could highlight certain areas. I'll show you how to add pictures in a minute, but you get the idea. This is how a table works. This is a great way for showing schedules, making grids of information. All of this information can, of course, be centered or aligned to the right. You can do anything with this like you normally would. Tables are a great way to get information across. When you hit preview to show you what this looks like, you'll see that the table, it displays very faint horizontal lines. But that's as I said, it's a great way to show information in a grid. The next feature that's available is the horizontal line feature, the horizontal rule feature. Now, this is kind of useful when you're trying to separate content. So, here's one section and another section. Let's say I wanted to make a little area to separate with a line. I would easily just come over here and click horizontal line rule, and it asks me how wide do I want the line to be. I'm going to choose 100% of my work area. When I do, it instantly makes me a horizontal line, and then I can just add content below it. Well, maybe below if I hit enter. We're going to try that one more time. Hey, you got to watch the web guy make a mistake. 100%, insert, and I'm going to come below that and paste new content. And so that's basically how that works. It gives you a way to separate your content, and when I hit preview, you'll see what that looks like. Great way to separate sections of content. You've also got another horizontal line that's built into the photo area, and we're going to go ahead and get into photos right now. So let's say you've got content and you've got text in here, but you want to add some pictures. Pictures are really, really easy, and this is kind of the same way that you would add a picture is the same way you would add a document. We're just going to start with photos. So let's say I wanted to put a picture here on the left-hand side next to this subtitle and this content. What I do is I come up here to the Add Media button. When I click Add Media, the Add Media interface comes up. Now I've got a couple of options for how I can do this. I can click the Select Files button, and it'll open up on my computer anywhere where I'd start looking for pictures. And typically by default, it would come to something like your pictures folder. So let's just go ahead and let's just go to the stock folder that I've got for Kern High School District. So let's upload a picture of a bus. Here we go. Now that I've chosen to upload this picture of a bus, it comes here and you see the little blue check mark. That tells you that you're working with this document. I'm not going to choose to deselect it, but if you put your mouse over it, it gives you the option to not check that one. And you could check a different document. We're going to go ahead and check this one. This is the document we're working with. On the right-hand side, it gives you some information about the picture. It shows you the title of the photo you uploaded. It shows you the dimensions, which are 1,864 pixels by 1,398 pixels. That's a really big picture. So we're going to work with this. And it's going to, down below it asks you, how do you want to display this photo? You can have it align to the left, which I definitely want it to do because I want it to align to the left of the text that I had. Do I want it to link to something? Yeah, because I want to display a smaller image of it, like a thumbnail, but I want it to link to the actual full-size picture. So I'm going to choose media file as the link to. I could choose to have it linked to nothing. I could have it a link to an attachment page where the picture is located, which is just kind of like linking it to the media file, but with an extra step. The other option I could have is a custom URL. I could choose this and have that picture link to another website. So like maybe if I had a logo for the Department of Education and I wanted to put a picture of the Department of Education up and link it, I could put the link to the Department of Education website here and, have that link, attached to the picture so when kids clicked it, it'd take them elsewhere. At the moment, I'm going to choose media file. And then I'm going to hit Insert into Post. Instantly, my photo is now displaying to the left of my text. Now, this is a very important reason I chose this picture and chose a thumbnail is so that you can see how there's a difference between what you see in the editor and what you see on the website. If you do any Googling, you'll notice that actually, as you're working in a post, an interface like this is called a what you see is what you get, also known as a WYSIWYG. Well, unfortunately, this isn't really true. What you see is in Times New Roman, and what you see is text butted right up next to a photo. The websites themselves have rules called Cascading Style Script, CSS for short, and those rules make the text all have a unique format to it. Makes them look good. Looks better than this. So when I hit preview, you're going to see how the CSS actually changes from this to this. So notice how there's a space between the subtitle and the content now, and everything's all nice and aligned. Looks a lot better than that, right? This is one of the reasons why the preview button is so useful when you're making content. You click there, you put your stuff in, you hit preview, you take a look. That looks nice. That's the way I wanted it. And the reason that preview button is there is because the CSS, which is really built into the source code of the website, and it's very complicated, and we don't expect you to have to deal with that. This is what makes things look nice and clean. We wanted to save you time, make it so that you didn't have to know how to do all that, so that's built in. Preview button's the way you take a look at that. So that picture's aligned to the left. Looks great. I like it there, but maybe I want it on the right. Not a problem. Click the picture, highlight it, and choose the alignment tool just like you would with text. Now the picture's over on the right. I hit preview to take a look at it. And there's my picture on the right. Maybe I want it centered. I have a lot of options available to me. So let's go ahead and take that picture and, put that there. So now that I got this picture here, let's go take a look at that post again. I'm going to click the image. And as you can see, it takes me right to the full-size photo. That's what that link to the media file means. Great way to display a large photo in a small thumbnail for people to be able to see later. So I've put a picture up, but let's say I wanted to post a PDF or a Word document for my students. Maybe it's a piece of homework or something. Not a problem. Documents, spell 7. So I've created the Word document. Let's say I wanted to highlight this word and I wanted to link it to something. Well, I need to insert a link. Well, where do I get that link? You get the link this way. So let's say we chose Add Media. Now I want to upload a document. Well, I've already got a couple documents in here, so let's just go ahead and use that. I do this exactly the same way as I did with the picture. I just select a file, browse, find myself a document, but I don't need a document right now because I've already got them loaded up in the media library. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this document, and then I'm going to choose Insert into Post if I just wanted to create a link with that title. But instead, I want to use my own title. So I'm just going to copy this URL right here because that link takes me straight to the media file, and I want to copy that. So I'm just going to choose Copy or Control-C, and then I'm just going to close that out, and now I'm going to click Link, paste it in there, and choose Insert. That's one way to do it. The other way is, of course, you just add the media, select the document, and choose Insert into Post. And when it does that, it inserts it with the title of the actual document. I've chosen to use my own title. Now my document is linked. When I hit Preview, it'll open up, and I should be able to click that link, and it instantly will open up the document for me, and I could save it. So that's a great way to get homework up there at the end of the school day. If you've had some content, some resources maybe that you've been wanting the students to see, maybe they're web-based, maybe those are just probably website links. Maybe they're PDFs that you have or content you've downloaded and gotten off Google Scholar. Great. Upload those up to the web server by using that upload feature, add new media, and link them in here. That way you can help your students always stay up to date on extra resources that maybe didn't get to cover in class. So now that we got a chance to go over all the content for adding photos and putting in documents, let's go ahead and talk about some fun stuff. Let's talk about adding slideshows. This is the WP Zoom slideshow shortcode tool. Now, when you're adding photos, let's say you had a class day and you took a bunch of pictures and you wanted people to see the pictures that you took. Not a problem. Let's hit Add Media, and just like we did before, we'll choose to select the files. And this time, let's select a group of pictures. So let's just grab a couple of these. I'm just going to randomly grab photos, and we're going to pretend that these are a bunch of class shots. And I'm going to upload them all. Now, as you can see, as that's happening, these photos are all uploading. And because I chose that number of photos, they're all selected, so they all have the check marks next to them. Now, this just takes a moment, but the photos will all upload. Of course, I uploaded full-sized big pictures, so this is going to take just a moment. As the pictures are uploading, you'll see the lines move across, and when they're done, that means you'll see the picture. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add a photo gallery. And this is going to be so much easier than anything else you've ever used. You're really going to love this feature. After the last photo uploads, over on the left, you'll see the options to create gallery and set a featured image and insert from URL. Don't worry about the other ones, but let's look at the create gallery option. When I click that, automatically the software knows which photos I'm working with. It keeps those check boxes and, say, okay, these are the pictures you want to create a gallery with. Not a problem. When I'm working with that Create Gallery option, over on the right, there's just a button that says, now, create a new gallery. So we did. It asks me how I want to link those media files. Yeah, let's just go with media file like I showed you before. How many columns do I want? Do I want 4 columns wide? Do I want 3 columns? I'm going to go with the standard 3-column option. I'm going to choose random order, and I'm going to choose Insert the Gallery. Now, when I've chosen to insert the photo gallery, instead of it displaying a gallery for me, it displays a grid ID, which is a box, and that grid is HTML. You're not going to really necessarily, as I said before, what you see is not what you get. When I hit preview, this will become much more apparent as to what I did. There's your photo gallery. I click the image, and it takes me to the image. I click the full-size image. There we go. Great way to have photo galleries in your posts. Now let's have another really great feature, and that is to embed a slideshow. Now that I've actually uploaded a gallery of photos, since I've gone ahead and chosen to upload and add media to a post, what I have done is the software has a database, and that database tags that you've uploaded photos to this post. So the software automatically knows that there are 6 or 7 photos associated with this post. We don't need to load them up anywhere else. We've already uploaded them. I just chose not to insert a gallery or remove the gallery, as you saw. Now I'm going to choose to use the slideshow shortcode. So I'm going to click that real quick. It asks me if I want to autoplay that slideshow. I say yes. And that's it. I just choose Insert Gallery, and it automatically gives me a shortcode. Again, this doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't look like a slideshow, but when I hit preview, watch what happens. automatically built for you is a jQuery slideshow. You can sort through the pictures, or they'll just continue to scroll on their own. This is available to every single teacher, and it automatically works. It looks great. You can load a gallery below this, or the people can just sort through the pictures you've uploaded this way. This is a great way to take class photos and get them up on the website and show off the accomplishments of your students. Of course, double check with your particular school's policies about showing pictures of students. There are, of course, some students who've had parents that have asked to not have their pictures on the internet. It's not a very difficult thing to work around, as long as you just kind of take the approach that every single student potentially has that document signed. Just make yourself a little list of students who you know can have pictures, and make sure to get pictures of their accomplishments and post them as you see fit. But that's a great little feature, and it's already built in for you. Really, really simple. The next tool is the Insert Shortcode tool. Now this, when you drop it down, it gives you a couple of options. You might find these to be really, really handy. Some folks may not ever use them at all. I think they're really neat. So I'm going to go back to the content I had originally. So what you're looking at here is a button builder. So let's just add a button here as the first tool. So let's go to button. When I choose button, an interface pops up and asks me what I want to title my button as. So let's say I wanted to title it as today's homework. Let's say I wanted a link for that homework. If it was a PDF or something that I'd uploaded, I would, of course, do what I'd done before and just add it to media and copy that link and then paste it here. So let's pretend I'd done that and that this link was that PDF. It asked me what size I want it to be. I'm going to leave it at medium. What style do I want it to be? And that basically, if you drop it down, you play around with these, you'll see these little icons pop up. Info, note, things like that, get people's attention. I like note. That's a nice one. The next one would be to ask me if I want to do a predefined style. I could choose a particular predefined color and style. I like red. It looks pretty good. We're on Arvin's website. I could, of course, choose to open the background color tool and load in Arvin's unique specific color, which, as we already remembered, is right here. So I'm just going to paste that in there and hit enter. And as you can see, I have now chosen to color my button in the Arvin red. It's very nice. I'm going to give it a border. Arvin's second color is black. So let's just go ahead and choose that. There we go. Do I want to have light text or dark? I'm going to say light. I'm going to go ahead and make this large so it's very easy to see. There you go. Today's homework. Do I want to have it open in a new window? Yeah, that's a good idea. Have it open in a new window, which is a great tool if it's a button to, say, a website you want a student to see. You could use that and it'd open it up in the new window and they'd still keep your window open. Well, that looks pretty good to me. I can see the preview. Let's choose to insert it. What is that? That's shortcode. This is basically kind of like HTML, which we're going to be getting to in a little bit. You don't have to learn HTML to make this work because that button made it all for you. When I choose preview, you'll see what it looks like. And there's the big button. As I said, I chose large. It's very, very big. You can make it much smaller. I'm just going to change the code because I know how to change the code. I'm going to choose medium. And when I do, it'll change the size of the shortcode button, and there we go. So you can add these buttons anywhere. They can point to anything you want. If you put these buttons in a table, you can have a whole grid of buttons. So if you want more information on how to use these, contact your web developer. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to walk you through it. I, of course, will also be making more tutorial videos. If you really, really want them, just request it. But it is a great tool for making buttons. The next option that comes from the insert shortcode link is an icon link. This is a great way to do essentially what a button does, but it's just for a link. So let's say it was a link for today's homework. Say if you didn't want it to necessarily be just a button, you could make it just look like this. And you could choose to have download as the icon. And as you can see, there it is, today's homework. It wants me to add the HTTP prefix. There we go. So now it accepts that. It gives me the green light. There we go. I could choose to use the note icon, which would give it that little... I could choose to use the tick icon, which gives it a check mark. I'm going to use download because I think it looks really good and it kind of gets the point across. I've inserted it. Oh, okay. Well, let's preview and see what that looks like. You'll notice that this kind of looks a little bit like on the teacher's pages where you put the syllabus. It's a little download link. Just another little way to kind of get the point across if you wanted to use that. There are more options which I think are extremely useful, and one of them is the info boxes. Info boxes give you the ability to isolate certain text in an area. So let's just say that I had taken just a little paragraph of text, and I chose to make this a note section to get the attention. It's going to make it yellow. It's going to put that little note icon on it. I'm going to choose to make that large. I'm not going to choose a predefined. I'm going to choose to round the corners of it just for the heck of it. And I'm going to give it a border. And that's it. All I've done now is I've given a particular section of content a box around it. Let's preview it and see what it looks like. And as you can see, it's taken that section and put a box around it, and it's just a really great way to call attention to a specific area. Of course, you could make it as simple as just highlighting it with the highlighter, but we wanted to give you a lot of options and make your stuff look really professional. The next option below that is a column layout. This is a great way to, if you want to actually lay out information in a grid, you can do so. So let's say you had 3 columns. So you've chosen 3 columns. You insert that. Once you've done so, well, when the software is working correctly, let's choose that again. I must have hit something wrong. Hey, as I said, you get to watch the web guy mess up a couple of times. So here is, oh, yeah, that's right. So here we've got the content for the individual columns themselves. So here is the first one, here's the second one, and here's the third one. If you wanted to have 4 or 5 columns, you could do it that way. And let's just choose insert. Of course, the day I want to show you how to make the feature work, it doesn't work. Basically, if you want to make columns, what will happen is it'll open up and provide you with boxes that show first column, second column, third column, and 4 column. You'll just type in between the box HTML and it'll work. I feel very embarrassed it's not working, but hey, that's software. I'll have that fixed by the time this deploys. The next option, of course, is a list generator, which makes an unordered or ordered list, and then there are social buttons, which are pretty much unnecessary. Let's go ahead and make an unordered list, and we're going to choose the unordered list, and the interface will come up, and let's say we wanted it to be red X's. It could be bullet points. It could be green dots. It could be arrows, and it could be stars. Now, the way this is really useful is, you've already got one predefined system, the unordered list. Well, let's just say you wanted to make one that really stood out and looked a little bit different. Not a problem. Just keep on adding as you normally would. Content. I hit preview, and you'll see what that looks like. And there are the buttons, and it didn't do it right because, of course, it's having a bit of an issue. We'll have that fixed for you, but you get the idea. These tools give you a whole lot of options that you can play with for making your particular content that you're loading look special. But maybe all the tools we've given you don't quite cut the mustard. Maybe you're an HTML person. Maybe you've done some tutorials, you've looked online. Not a problem. You'll notice over on the right, there's a tab called Text. When you hit this, you will get HTML. In fact, I'll just go ahead and open that back up and go to it. And there you go. There's all the HTML. If you wanted to take a particular section of text and you knew that, if you're working with this subtitle here, and you wanted to make that bold, you know that strong is how you do that. So bring it on over. And as you can tell, that now that word title, subtitle is now bolded. That's not necessarily the way that most of you, I expect, will be doing HTML, but if you had a particular piece of content that was given to you as an HTML embed and you wanted to use it, just come over here to text and you would just paste that content. So let's say I wanted to make this my very first post. I've got all the content in here the way I like it, and now I want to get it up on my page. Not a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and look at some of the features I have on the right-hand side. One of the options that I have is to give it a featured image, which I'm going to move that area. As you can see, all these areas are modular. I'm just going to move that up here because I like featured image up near the top. I'm going to give it a featured image. I want the featured image to basically be the first image in my post. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that. I'm going to choose that bus. I like that bus. Now I'm going to explain to you what a featured image is in a few minutes. You'll see in a little bit. When I choose set featured image, it's set that as a featured image. You'll see what that is soon. Down below that are the publish options. If I wanted to get ahead of the game, I could actually choose to write a bunch of these and then choose the publish date, and I could go right into the future and add any date I wanted. I could write a whole week's worth of published posts and they'd all publish at the exact minute that I chose. Or I can just go ahead and publish immediately and we publish that way. I'm going to choose to make all of my content visible, but let's say, for instance, you had content that was from one of your school books. Maybe it's something that you can't just publicly push out there. You could instantly make this post password protected and then type the password you wanted and then hit OK and then distribute that password to your students. That would mean that they would be able to get to your post, but nobody would be able to see the content but your students. It's a great way to utilize content from your school books. Of course, check with your administrators if they're even willing to let you do that. But it is an option that you have available to you. The other option is to save it as a draft and get to it later. Let's just go ahead and choose to publish it now. But I'm going to come down here to the categories because this, as your web administrator maybe had mentioned to you, is how you make sure that your post actually makes it to your page. You will be able to find yourself under your particular department. So just scroll down, counselors. I'm not in any of these departments. I'm probably down here near the bottom. Well, scroll up a little bit. Maybe I'm in here somewhere. Oh, there I am. I've chosen my name. By choosing my name, I have now chosen to make sure that this content posts to my page. So really quick, let's just go ahead and go back to my page. Hey, there I am. So I don't have anything here yet. Let's go ahead and choose to publish this post. By setting the featured image, you're going to see what this looks like. Now that that's posted, I'm going to hit refresh on my page. And there's my first post. The featured image is actually displayed here on the left without hitting that featured image. This is just a big gray bar with a post top, and that looks just fine, but I really like using featured images because it kind of gives your students a bit of an urgency. Oh, look at that, and they kind of click things a little bit more often. So now I've got a post on my page. That's my first one, though. Let's add a new post just really quickly so I can show you what it looks like. And content. Well, I can't spell today, but whatever. I'm going to set another featured image. Let's go in the media library and see what we got. Oh, there's a great picture of a football player. I'm going to use that one. Set that as my featured image. It's pretty much going to crop in the middle there for me, but that works really good. I'm going to choose my name. All right, I'm down here. Excellent. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit publish. But really quickly, before I do that, I want to make sure I point out the feature this post option. You're basically never, ever going to click this. Unfortunately, I can't necessarily turn that button off, but just make sure you never hit this or your post will become front page news. Quite literally. It will actually display as one of the slideshows on the front homepage of your school site if you hit feature this post. If you think your post is awesome enough to be homepage content, then by all means tell your web administrator and your principal, hey, I got something I want to put up there. Your web administrator will take care of the process for you. I'm going to go ahead and hit publish. We're going to go back to my page and I'm going to hit refresh. And now my second post, as you can see, posts above that, chronological order. And that's pretty much how you use the posting feature. Eventually, we're going to have iPhone and Android apps that allow students to subscribe to your particular updates by using RSS, like right up here. they can do it right now. They can actually use RSS subscriptions and get email updates whenever you update content. But when they get those iPhone and Android apps, they'll be able to choose to get a push alert that you've put content out. They can subscribe to any particular teacher they want, or the principal, or the coach, athletics director, whatever they've chosen. And anytime you put that content out there, they'll get a little boop, and they'll get an alert, and they'll know about it. It's a great way to keep things, fresh and updated, and kind of remove the excuse any student may have that they forgot their homework. Hey, guess what? I posted it online. I hope you found this informative and useful. It is a little bit of a long video, but it does give you a very thorough walkthrough of how to utilize the interface. If you have any further questions, by all means, feel free to email me directly at 7_bates@kernhigh.org. Also, of course, check with your web administrator first for anything. They'll probably be able to help you much quicker and give you any fast support. But any particular complicated questions, and they'll usually shoot them up to me, but feel free, contact me anytime. It's what I'm here for. That and being awesome. Hope to hear from you guys soon. Take care.